Let's talk about Danny Pennies, the quarterback for the New York Giants, because he is not throwing any dimes on the field. I am praying for New York Giant fans. I'm hoping that this is the last year that Giant fans have to deal with Daniel Jones. I have been tuned out over the last couple of games, but I just got finished watching their game against the Bengals. I just rewatched the game against the Dallas Cowboys, and I just got done watching their previous game against the Philadelphia Eagles. I will say this, they're dealing with a lot of injuries. No Andrew Thomas at the left tackle position. He is so good, by the way. He's been the best offensive lineman with the Giants over the last couple of years. I hope that he has a speedy recovery, and every player that's dealing with an injury right now goes out there and they can fully recover. But Andrew Thomas, man, he's special. Shout out to him. You also have Kayvon Thibodeau dealing with a wrist injury. He's on IR right now. Brian Burns was pulled out of the game against the Eagles, but he was able to go out there and give you a lot of good moments. He should be okay to play next week. With that being said, Danny Pennies is the reason why this team is losing football games. I don't want to hear the excuses anymore. I've heard the excuses. He doesn't have true wide receivers. The wide receivers were never terrible with the New York Giants. They showed a lot of promise with Tommy DeVito last season. They showed a lot of promise with Tyrod Taylor. And they bring in Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is a true number one wide receiver. That kid is special. Wan'Dale Robinson, I really like him a lot as well. I understand his rookie season got cut short because of an ACL injury, but he's very good in his own right. And Darius Slayton is good as well. When you look at the losses that the Giants have, they're not horrible losses. You look at what happened against the Bengals. They held the Bengals to 17 points. Realistically, they held them to 14 points. But Danny Pennies could not put the ball in the ocean. That's the second game this season. The defense played very well against the Dallas Cowboys as well. And that is what's so frustrating about the Giants this season. They could be in contention to possibly win this division if Pennies played better, but he hasn't. Against the Dallas Cowboys, you hold them to 20 points, field goal after field goal after field goal. And yes, you gave up a touchdown to Rico, but if you should be able to go out there and match their points with the weapons that you have. The offensive line is not terrible this season. I'm not going to let you guys say that in the comment section. And Brian Dable does have a lot of shortcomings. But there's only so much he can do as a head coach when you have a guy like Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback on a week-to-week basis. I think that Brian Dable is a very good coach because you look at how close these games are. Against the Minnesota Vikings in week 1, they lost that game 28-6. May I add on to this? Pennies threw a pick six in that game to Andrew Van Ginkel. They lost the game against the Washington Commanders by 3 points. They defeated the Cleveland Browns 21-15. They went out there and they lost to the Dallas Cowboys 20-15. They went out there and they defeated the Seattle Seahawks 29-20. I will give Daniel Jones credit. He played okay in that game, but shout out to the defense and especially shout out to the special teams. They went out there, they blocked a field goal for the win. That's a good win. Their special teams has been good this season. Their defense has been shockingly good as well. They moved off of Wink Martindale because he had a lot of disagreements with Brian Dable behind the scenes. But this defense, they looked very good. They were leading the league at sacks with Brian Burns and also with Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence. They have good players up front. Their defense is very good. The problem is your quarterback can't put the ball in the ocean. And I do believe this right now. Drew Lock is not going to be the long-term starter. I'm not saying that. But right now, he's in better option than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones cost him that game against the Dallas Cowboys with all the underthrows in that game. Over and underthrows in that game. And don't give me the neck injury. He played very well in that season that they made the NFL playoffs against the Minnesota Vikings. And when they beat the Minnesota Vikings in that playoff game. He wasn't over and underthrowing guys then. He's just not a good starting quarterback. Daniel Jones is the most mediocre starter on a week-to-week basis. This man is terrible. You're in a situation now to where the offensive line is decent. It's not a top offensive line in the NFL, but the offensive line is decent. You have a very good head coach in Brian Dable, in my opinion, who did great work with Josh Allen and who was able to go out there and scheme up good plays last season with Tommy DeVito and with Tyrod Taylor. The offense had more success with those guys than they had with Daniel Jones. And when you watch Daniel Jones on the film, guys are getting open. He just can't hit them. That is what's holding this team back. And with the Dallas Cowboys having a down year, the New York Giants could be in contention to win this division. But instead, they're back on the back burner yet again. You look at that Bengals game, that was more frustrating than the Cowboys game because they were so close over and over again. But the weaknesses showed in that game. The Cincinnati Bengals went out there, they just stopped the run, and they made Daniel Jones beat them. The only thing that Daniel Jones has going for him is the fact that he has solid athleticism. That's it. That's all that he has. His arm is weak. The accuracy is not there. He's terrible. And I hope this is the last year with Daniel Jones. Now, I will say this. If the New York Giants go out there and they win 5 to 6 games, they may be screwed because it's only 2 good quarterbacks in this year's draft class, in my opinion. You have Shedeur Sanders. Do you want to deal with Deion Sanders in that situation? Then you also have Cam Ward as well. And it's more than just the New York Giants that need quarterbacks. You look at the Las Vegas Raiders. You look at the Cleveland Browns. You look at the Carolina Panthers. Do the New York Giants want to go out there and select Carson Beck? Do they want to go out there with a guy like Quinn Ewers? I don't think that they could come in right now and they'll be any better than Daniel Jones. Now, the salary will be better. Maybe they will be better than Daniel Jones because Daniel Jones' accuracy is just completely terrible. But those are not the ideal guys to have with a coach like Brian Daboll, with the weapons that they have. And I do understand early on in his career, he was dealt a bad hand because of coaching with Joe Judge and Jason Garrett was the offensive coordinator. I fully understand that, but we are fully removed from that. This is a man that has weapons now. Devin Singletary, in my opinion, he's an okay running back, but they have another running back on this team that has been very good over the last couple of weeks. And Tyrone Tracy Jr., he's a former wide receiver. He transitioned over to being a running back. This kid is special. He has soft hands coming out the backfield because he is a former wide receiver. And we saw what he was able to do against the Bengals. You could flip him out at outside wide receiver. You could put him inside the slot. He can run routes out of the backfield. We've seen this before with him. Daniel Jones just continuously goes out there and he misses him over and over again. And it's not all on Daniel Jones. It's not, but he is the biggest reason to why they can't win football games right now. And I do understand when they went against the Philadelphia Eagles, he wasn't playing defense. The defense went out there, they laid an egg. You let Saquon Barkley go out there and run for 176 rushing yards and a touchdown. And you let Jalen Hurts go out there and run for 2 rushing touchdowns as well. I understand that. That has nothing to do with Daniel Jones. But putting points on the board over the last couple of weeks, that has everything to do with Daniel Jones. When you have guys like Theo Johnson having to go out there and jump out their bodies to possibly go out there and try to catch the football against the Cleveland Browns, that's on Daniel Jones. Malik Neighbors has to go out there and make Superman type of grabs. That is on Daniel Jones because of how terrible he is. The Giants right now are stuck in limbo. They're not going to get any better with this man as their starting quarterback. And it's like pulling teeth every single week. It sucks because of how good this team is. If they had a better quarterback, they would be in contention to win this division. And you can't tell me that they wouldn't be. The Dallas Cowboys right now, they're struggling. They're dealing with injuries, yes, but at the same time, they're not a good team this season. This is a down year. The Washington Commanders, they're right there. They do have some weaknesses to their game. The Giants lost to them by 3 points in that game. And you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, you can say that they're the best team right now on paper. But I do believe with a better quarterback, that can give you a chance to go out there and win a game over the Eagles. It's the same situation every single year with the New York Giants. But at least they have defensive players right now that can go out there and get after the quarterback. And I know today's game, it sucks to say that because of what happened against the Philadelphia Eagles. They ran the football down their throat repeatedly over and over again. They do have to go out there and show more fight against a team like that. But at the same time, the Giants, they have talent. It's not all doom and gloom. But the worst situation with the Giants right now is the fact that ownership won't let Brian Daboll bench this man. He went out there, he benched Kenny Golladay easily a couple of years ago. And that made me a huge fan of Brian Daboll because that showed, hey, it doesn't matter how much you're getting paid. If you're not playing up to standards, you don't have a place on my team. Unfortunately, ownership, they love Daniel Jones. They went out there and they paid him a lot of money. And Brian Daboll did not select Daniel Jones. Joe Shane did not select Daniel Jones. He was already here. And they wanted Brian Daboll to go out there and fix this kid. And it seemed like he did. Then the next season, everything unraveled. Now, I understand last season was cut short due to an ACL injury. Even up to that point, outside the Arizona Cardinals game in the second half, he wasn't playing good. Daniel Jones is terrible. And he's a horrible starter in the NFL. and I hope that the New York Giants will move off of him sooner than later. I really want to see what Drew Lock can do with these weapons, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Daniel Jones is a middle-of-the-road quarterback, and the sooner as they get off of Daniel Jones, the better. But let me know in the comment section below, am I being too tough on Danny Pennies? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys to stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.